What's good, everyone? It's been a while since I've made my last journal entry. And although I don't advertise this or market this, these conversations really are me just talking to myself. But I do post these publicly, and some people do listen to them. They find a way. It shows up on their homepage, on their algorithm. Somehow the universe is able to get people to listen to these. Um, so yeah, it's been a while. This is actually the third time I've tried to record this journal entry. I did one today, which was like 60 minutes. It was over an hour. And when I tried to replay it, I guess the mic wasn't properly set up, so I couldn't hear anything. So basically, I was talking to myself for an hour, which really isn't a long time considering how much I actually talk to myself. And then last week, I tried to record, and I just wasn't really happy with it because I was going through something and my gut was telling me, don't do it. Just relax. Maybe do a little bit of inner work. And my mind was telling me, no, just post. Post, be consistent with it, whatever the case is. And so I listened to my mind and I tried, but it just wasn't good. And that goes to show you that gut instinct is number one. Numero uno, follow your gut. And I think some of the questions today will be highlighting that. And so when I say last week, there was kind of a blip. I kind of got into a little rift with a friend of mine, which I take most of the blame for sure. And it's not really that I'm blaming them at all. I guess I just had expectations. Because it kind of sucks when you're able to show up for someone and be there for them, even when they're not around, and they aren't able to do the same for you. It sometimes it hurts, and I was hurt. But the reason why I was hurt was because I had an expectation of that person that they'll always be there for me even when I'm not there. And maybe I took it too personal. Maybe I took it to a whole another level, and I did. And it doesn't mean really that I was wrong or that they're wrong. It's just how things are. And so I'm sorry if you hear some noise in the background. It's absolutely windy outside. And my thoughts may not be as clear as they previously were because I just woke up from a nap. But I want to get this entry done today. And I feel like it's just much needed. But I've been learning a lot about myself, especially the past couple weeks. Not so much that I'm learning about myself. It's one of those things where sometimes, things are happening, good and bad, but I'm really able to see how I handle or how I show up when things aren't going my way. And I like my response. I'm at this weird point because life is a series of peaks and valleys. And right now I'm in the valley looking up at this mountain. And I know that this next climb up is going to be very beneficial for me. It's almost like when an actor or an entrepreneur, I don't consider myself an entrepreneur. I'm just a guy who does things. But like when you see that billionaire and it's like on paper, they're rich. They're a billionaire. They have a multi-billion-dollar company, but really their money's all tied in the business. So they aren't really pocketing everything. Or one actor is famous, they've done some big movies, but they don't have the financial backing of all their hard work yet. And that's kind of where I feel like I am. And I know that this next move I make is going to be really beneficial, I believe. How will it be beneficial? I don't know. But I feel positive. And in this scenario where I'm at, I feel like the old me would be very upset just because the work I've put in right now has been very beneficial and I've seen a lot of fruits from my labor, but it's not there yet. And the thing about life is you can put in the work and it doesn't mean you're going to get rewarded right away. There's almost this lag effect. It's loading. You put in the work and you're showing up and that bar is just loading, it's taking its time. But you just have to be consistent with it. And I know without a doubt that everything's going to be okay. So if you're listening to this and this relates to you, like, don't be upset that you aren't experiencing the fruits of your labor just yet. Just keep going. Because once you stop, that loading bar is going to stop. It's one of those things where it's like when you go buy something, right? You go buy something, they take the money out of your account right away. But when you go to return it, 7 to 10 business days. It's no different. That's just how life works. But anyways, I have a series of questions. I think there's 8 of them. I want to see if we can get through 8 of them. I'll see how I feel after the first 4. Just because if I don't feel like I'm answering the questions honestly or to the best of my ability, then there's no point in just rambling. I can just always do another episode or another entry. So, first question. What do most people get wrong about training, about working out? The biggest thing I see is there's a lack of disrespect to the dojo, to the gym. And when let's say you train BJJ or Muay Thai or you're a boxer or whatever, you know how the teacher is always either mopping before or after, or there's always that one student that's mopping. It's not so much about cleaning the gym, it's about respect for the gym, for the dojo. You want to keep it clean, you want to keep the environment pure. And I'm not talking about people who don't wipe down their equipment at the gym. When I go to the gym, I fully understand that at any point during any exercise, I could die, or I can get seriously injured. I have that full respect. However, I'm also the type of person who I don't set up any safety guardrails. When I'm squatting or I'm bench pressing, I don't really bench press as much, but if I'm squatting, I don't have any bar safeties set up. It's either I lift the weight or I don't. And so when I have a bunch of weight loaded on the bar and I'm on my way back up and I'm struggling, I'm using every cell in my body to make sure I re-rack the weight. But I also have great respect for people in the gym. And when someone's doing something impressive, or I see something that's interesting and I want to apply what they're doing to my training, I don't think, I can do that. That's easy. Like, I don't tell myself that I can't do it. I always tell myself I haven't done it yet. But I always make sure to give that person flowers. I always, hey, that looks really good. What's that working? Okay, bet. I'm gonna try that. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for showing me something. too many times, like I've been training for over 20 years. The amount of times I see people take what I'm doing and then try to make it their own. Like they're like, oh yeah, no, I've done this. I've been doing this for years. And I see them try to perform the exercise and they're doing it wrong. It's like there's just so much ego in the gym. But as well, at the same time, there's not enough of the right ego, if that makes sense. Because so many times I see people lifting heavier than what they're used to, and they're sacrificing the actual mechanics of the movement. There's a lack of range of motion, a lack of proper breathing, a lack of really structure because they're afraid to work with lower weight and you know what I mean? Like I do this lateral raise where I do full range of motion and I'm only doing like 12 and a half to 15 pounds. I've been stuck at that weight for years. It's tough. Like I'm just not there. I'm not there yet where I can really increase the weight, and nor do I really want to because I want to work with intention and get that full range of motion. But then I see other people, they do half the range of motion and they're just lifting heavy weights, grunting, acting like they're tough, whatever the case is. And this is not me bashing them, whatever the case is. I just see that there is this lack of respect in the gym. And I think that lack of respect is why a lot of people aren't making the gains or they're not where they want to be. So they're like, oh yeah, I've been working out for such a long time. Fitness is bogus, wherever the case is. And it's just like, no, like you didn't respect the process. And you see it with people who, you know, they've been working out for a few years, wherever the case is, and boom, they're blasting TRT. They're blasting any type of gear, or whatever the case is. And it's like, yo, I've been doing this for 20 years plus. And I didn't really see the progress that I wanted to see until year 17, 18. And this isn't to be like, oh yeah, I've been working out for years, look at me. No, it's like, no. Like I had to grind, man. I remember the early days. 2 workouts a day. I'm in the gym multiple hours. And for me, it's just the pure love of it. Like now I just want to like feel good, whatever the case is. But when I work out, like when I'm training my students, I have safety rails set up, making sure that they're safe, whatever the case is. But I don't do the same for me. And it's not a lack of respect. It's I want to experience the purest. I want to experience this movement in the purest way possible. Because life is very decentralized. The gym is a very centralized place, but nature is very decentralized. So how can I bring nature into the gym? Because nature, you're going to get hurt. When you go swimming in the ocean, in the sea, or where, whatever, like, you are not the big dog there. Doesn't matter how good of a swimmer you are. If there's a shark right there and the shark wants you, the shark is going to have you. Same if you're in the jungle. So for me, it's about bringing that environment into the gym and making it as decentralized as possible. Because a lot of my injuries in the gym from training, wherever the case is, was from a lack of respect or just pure ego. My form wasn't good. My structure was just off. I can remember basically every injury I've had from the gym literally formed from ego. I thought I was too good. Let me push the limits here. And that's how I got hurt. So the biggest thing I see that people are doing wrong in the gym is just having that respect for it. Because if you respect your environment, your environment's going to respect you at the end of the day. And that works anywhere. Anywhere outside the gym, that works. So hopefully I answered that question. That's kind of a long one. What did competitive hockey teach you about your body that no coach ever could? I'm not too sure about the body. I know for sure when it comes to my mindset, very similar to the last question I answered. Like I treated the hockey no different than how I train. Like if I told you how many concussions I got from working out, you would think I'm lying. And I remember times when I'm playing and I get rocked in the head, and then it's intermission. I'm heading to the changing room and I have a towel over my head, eyes closed, because the lights were just so blinding in the change room. And I knew that I had a concussion, and I had basically two options. I tell coach I can't do it anymore, or I toughen up and I play through it. And every time I played through it, and I don't regret it at all. It taught me a lot about myself as a person. I'm someone who I have to, if I'm working with a team, if I'm with my friends or whatever the case is, I gotta show up for them. And it's no different than how I started this entry. Like I show up for people, and a lot of times they may not show up for me in the way that I like, but that's okay. And I just gotta get rid of those expectations and just be true to myself, knowing that like, hey, I'm this type of person. Like, and I don't really want to change. Like, I'm gonna show up for you, and whether you show up for me or not, that's okay. I'm gonna be there for you. I'm just a loyal person like that. And I hate bringing up loyalty because I feel like if you have to talk about being loyal, then how loyal can you really be? Your actions should just prove it. But that's just who I am. And so I was able to learn that about myself at a young age. But regarding the body, I feel like it showed me that the body's really, it's quite resilient. But at the same time, you have to know when to take a step back and rest. Like throughout my entire hockey career, I rarely got injured. Like I experienced concussions and whatnot, but I always went back out there until the last like maybe couple years of playing hockey. I just kept getting injured, and I would go out there, but it would just further sideline me. My injuries kept getting worse, and I think it was just my body telling me like, hey, like you need to relax, because during the summer, like it doesn't matter if it was during the season or off season, I was training hard. And I made the mistake of also training CrossFit while I was playing hockey. Just because I was such a competitive person. Like my favorite sports are contact sports. I love hockey. I love rugby. I played a little bit of football. But my body was just taking so much abuse that at the end it was telling me to rest, and I just didn't know how to rest. I was all gas, no brakes. And so it taught me how resilient the body is, but also that the body needs rest. But hockey taught me a lot of things. It taught me how to work with others. And I'm just a team guy. Team projects, or whether it's at work, whatever the case is, like I was never the most skilled guy on my teams. I just ask coach, what do you need from me? What is the team lacking? Okay, it's lacking that physical aspect. Okay, bet. I'm gonna hit. I'm gonna fight. And if you ever fought, like it doesn't matter how tough you are. Like fighting is like a scary thing. Like every time I fought, like I was low key scared because it's just like anything can happen. I can get knocked out. I can hit my head. It could be the end. I can fight, lose the fight, and lower the morale of my team. And so every time I fought, I was always a little bit scared for sure. And that's why, like, as an adult, I don't look for fights just because I've been punched in the face before. I know how it is. But yeah, hot sports, hockey taught me everything. And if it wasn't for, like, I don't regret retiring because I think everything happens for a reason. And I know that I could have gone ahead and played a long pro career and all that, whatever the case is. Like, I'm fully comfortable with how I ended things because it made me into the man that I am today, and I'm able to work on the things that I love. And I have nothing but good things to say about hockey at the end of the day. Next question. What's the most underrated thing someone can do for their hormones? I think we answered that already. Other than getting sunlight and dialing in your circadian rhythm, I think the biggest thing someone can do about their hormones is not worry about their hormones. I'm talking as a male, so my answer is going to be from the male perspective. For females, it may be absolutely different. But for men, like, we live in this time where men are solely fixated on testosterone. And I think I've said this before, but I think I look at testosterone as a resilience hormone. And so how you show up for others, how you show up for yourself, the work that you put in, and how you handle stress plays a big role in your testosterone. And also, not worrying about your testosterone is probably the best thing you can do for it. That's just what I think. Because I've seen so many times where, like, people who should have low testosterone, really, like manual laborers, they're, working all day, physically demanding, minimal rest, and then they go home and they got to deal with their wife, their kids, they got to provide for their family, show up for everybody, bills to pay, whatever the case is. Like, yes, in some scenarios, yeah, they have low testosterone, sure. But that's not always the case. And I think understanding that, like, your lab work, your blood work results, or just a snapshot of where you are at that specific time in your life. And it doesn't explain your whole story. Because there's so many times where I'll see people who have low testosterone on paper, but in their lives, they feel absolutely amazing. And there's times where it's the opposite. So I think the best thing you can do, like, as someone who teaches people about their hormones, and I do make money off it, my biggest thing is, like, hey, don't really worry about that. Like, how are you feeling? How are you performing? Okay, well, if you're not performing well, you're not feeling well, doesn't always have to be about your hormones. Like, how are you living your life? How's your home environment? Like, the mind is always going to choose a path through less resistance. So, like, what are you avoiding at the end of the day? Because I'll tell you, one of the biggest things that I've done to help people fix their hormones is just getting them to be more resilient and getting them to stop avoiding certain things. Because a lot of times ignorance is bliss, but a lot of times you have to make it through. I'm trying to think of this one quote I heard. But anyways, you just have to go through things. Sometimes you have to go through that wall. And it's funny how you feel and how life gets better when you stop avoiding things. Like, for me, and I think I said in the last episode, when my workouts are on point, when my training is on point, everything else just seems to be good. Life's good, my relationships are good, Finance is good. It's just it's just about getting there for me. Like I just have to get back to having those good workouts and whatever the case is, and just having fun with it. Right now it's a little bit tough just because of how work is, but I don't know. I know I'll get there. So the biggest thing I'll really say is don't worry about the hormones. Like the hormones is really a mask for what you're avoiding. You're avoiding something at work. You're avoiding that conversation. Well, it's because my hormones are off. No, it's because you're not putting in that work. You're literally trying to avoid something right now. And once we're able to address it, everything else will work. And if you still don't feel good after that, then we can look at your hormones. At least that's how I approach things. At what point did fitness stop being about aesthetics for you? Yeah, so I used to have really bad body dysmorphia when I was younger. And so I would say probably a couple years ago, it stopped being about really aesthetics. It is still part of it. Like I want to be in shape. I do want to look good, but I don't care about having big muscles. Like I don't take any protein. I really don't take any supplements. The only supplement I'm taking, which I haven't really took in a while, will probably be vitamin D. And I try to get as much sunlight as possible. But living in Vancouver and with how the weather is, it's not always the best for sunlight. So like right now it is windy as hell, and the clouds are starting to go away. So I'm probably gonna get some sunlight, go to the beach for a bit. But when it's really bad, I'll supplement with some vitamin D. But when it comes to the whole aesthetics thing, yeah, I don't really care too much about that anymore. And I think I'm just at this phase in life. I'm in this season where aesthetics is not a big priority for me anymore because I've hit a lot of my goals. Like I can't remember the last time I had a fitness related goal of like looking good or having bigger whatever. If anything, it's been about lifting a certain amount of weight, but it was never about looking good. And I think I'm just in a different phase in my life. And maybe when I'm in my 40s, I'll change. I'll be like, you know what, let's get back to aesthetics. And that's totally natural. But right now, I just want to move around. I want to feel good. I just want to be more mobile, faster, and work on any discrepancies in my body. And it's funny, when I was younger, and I would hear people be like, oh, wait till you get older. You won't care about how you look and whatever the case is. I thought that was the weirdest thing ever. But now that I'm actually older, it's like, oh yeah, it actually makes sense. I think it's just natural with age. The older you get, the less you actually care about aesthetics and what people think of you. You just want to move good. You just want to feel good. And that's my top priority at the moment. Next question. What's the hardest mental pattern you've had to unlearn? So I used to be very hard on myself, and I still am in some aspects, because you're always harder on yourself than you are on other people, which I think is somewhat natural. But I used to be very judgmental, and I still am, but not as much. Like I'm able to be more aware, and I think that's the name of the game is awareness. So sometimes I'll see someone doing something that I don't like or what I perceive to be different. And for a second, I'm going to judge them. But right after, I'm going to be aware and be like, why am I judging him? Like, why do I care? Let them be them. I don't want any attention. I don't want to take away from what they're doing. If they're happy, great, let them be. And so I'm really going to, like, my goal is not to give as much advice to people, to my students for sure. Um, Basically, if you're gonna like pay me for my advice, that's the only way I'm gonna give advice. Really, may seem shallow, but it's just like unless you're actually gonna pay me for it, then sure I'll give you my advice. But other than that, I'm just gonna let people be them. I don't have the time nor the energy to really, and nor do I really care about how people want to do things because there's no right way or wrong way. You have yours and I have mine, and that's just what I believe. So I've been working on being less judgmental, um, and like especially recently, like my inner dialogue has gone a lot better. So right now, like I said, I'm in this valley, and I'm not where I want to be, but I'm putting in the work, and I feel good with with what I'm doing because I've changed a lot. Like who I was 5 years ago and who I am now, who I was even last year and who I am now are completely different people. So I'm proud of that, and I feel like I'm moving forward. And although I'm not where I want to be, I know if I still had that older mindset, I'd be so harsh on myself to the point where I'd be getting depressed. But now it's just like pfft, whatever. Like things come and go. It's totally fine. I'm gonna be good, just because I have that evidence of showing up. And so I've had to unlearn a lot of things. When I dropped out of college, I basically told myself like, hey, like I need to unlearn everything the school system taught me. And I just need to learn from life. And like I've said before, I was tossed in the fire early and I had to learn how to deal with it. And it's one of the best decisions I ever made. Acting purely off gut instinct. That's all I care about. What is my gut telling me? And I just want to honor that inner child, that younger version of myself, and make him happy. And a lot of times, you have to show up for yourself before you can show up for others. I believe that. And I need to get comfortable in keeping that same energy when people look out for themselves instead of me all the time. And so this whole scenario with my friend, maybe they were just looking out for themselves before they were looking out for me, and that's totally fine. And I didn't realize that at the moment. But now, as I'm saying this out loud, like, yeah, I kind of understand. Maybe they weren't even looking out for themselves. It was just something that happened. And why am I placing so much thought into this? Just, just let people be. And I think that's the mental pattern that I'm really working on, is just allowing people to be them. You do you, I'll do me. And when we come together and you want to do something for me, you want to look out for me, great. I'll do the same for you, but I have no expectations from you. Period. Next question. What does your inner dialogue sound like on your worst days? Oh, I guess we kind of just answered that. Like I said, I don't look at these questions beforehand. I don't think about them. I just throw them in my notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom, let's answer them. But yeah, what does my inner dialogue sound like on my worst days? It used to be really bad. It used to be really rough. I used to get depressed. I used to think about things for a long time. Like if something happened at work, like for example, there's a guy I work with. If he's listened to this, he may find this funny. He may get upset. It is what it is. But this is just me being me. He'll take interactions at work. He'll take them home, and then he'll like go to bed thinking about them, and then he'll come back to work talking about what happened the previous day. And I'm like, bro, like I don't even remember what happened. Like, nor do I care. I don't take anything from work home with me. Period. If something happened at work, cool. Whatever. Like a lot of people that I work with care about reviews and what reviews we get. Bro, I don't give a shit about any review you write about us or me, whatever the case is. As long as I know, like as long as I put intention in things, I was being intentional, and I tried, whatever the case is, I really don't care. Because there's so many times where like I do my best to help someone and then they get offended by it and they get upset. I'm like, bro, like I was literally just trying to help you, whatever the case is. Like it's not a big deal. And so like I said, people can only meet you as deeply as they can meet themselves. So I don't care. My levels of giving a fuck is at an all-time low recently. And a lot of people around me see that and they're like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I just don't give a shit. Like I'm not playing the same game you're playing. Period. I much rather live the life I want to live. I want to be the person I want to be. So who I am away from work is really how I am at work. I'm a little bit different when I'm with my friends. For sure. Absolutely. That's natural. I talk more shit around my friends, whatever the case is, but I talk a high level of shit at work. Like I I've had so many jobs where to me it's like, okay, whatever. They're all the same at the end of the day. So my inner dialogue has gone a lot better. I started caring less, and I understand that I'm not playing the same game as everybody else. I mean, we're all playing our own game for sure, but the one that modern society is playing is not the one I'm playing. And so I think about sometimes like, or people ask me, sorry, like, where do you want to be in 5 years? I'm like, bro, I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow. I'm going to do whatever God shows me to do. If God's like, hey, we're no longer doing X, Y, and Z, we're doing this now. Okay, bet. I may switch up my career completely, do a full 180. Who knows? I'm just following what God tells me to do at the end of the day. And my inner dialogue is just not really sure if I even have an inner dialogue. Like when I say I talk to myself, I'm talking to God. And yes, I'm saying that I'm God. You are God also. I don't believe in going to church to talk to God. Like I talk to God on a regular basis, period. And understanding that everything you see and touch is God or was created by God or however you want to look at it. And that's just what I believe. I could be totally wrong, but it's just what I believe in. And so I just know that if I live as close to how God wants me to live, I'm doing the right thing. But at the same time, being real with myself and being like, yo, if I screwed up, I screwed up. And I'm really good at doing that. Like there's things I admit to where people would be so afraid. They're like, bro, you just admitted to that? I'm like, yeah, like it is what it is. Yeah, I did it. Yeah, that's how I am. Whatever. Because I really want to like leave this world without having any skeletons in my closet. And that doesn't mean telling everybody everything I've gone through, wherever the case is. But if they ask me a question, like, yeah, I'm not going to hide it. Yeah, I did that. So what? What you going to do about it? If you want to fight, you can try fighting me. You know what I mean? But like, if I don't want to fight you, I'm not going to fight you. So you're going to be punching a fucking wet bag of sand. I don't know. It's just how I want to live my life at the end of the day. Last question. How do you know when you're operating from fear versus intuition? Operating from intuition can always be scary. 100%. It's a scary thing. But the more you operate from it, the less scary it gets. Like I said, your mind is always going to choose the path through less resistance. So in the short term, yeah, following your mind may be the most beneficial thing. Long term, not so much. Now it's the opposite effect when you're following your gut, when you're following intuition. Short term, it may suck. Long term, it's going to be the best decision you ever made. I never regret any decision that I made with my gut, period. And I was thinking about this the other day, like, no regrets when it comes to that. But every time I led with my mind, bro, nothing, I don't regret anything, but when I look back, like, yeah, every time I used my mind for something, it was not beneficial for me. In the short term, sure, but not in the long term. And so, for example, I have this friend. She's in this relationship, and the relationship is absolutely cooked. It's done. But they're still together. And when I first met her, she had this whole, I don't want to really say holistic, but we'll use that word for now. She had this holistic philosophy or principles. She's like, I don't want to date, like she was dating these certain types of men that maybe weren't beneficial for her. And so she's like, I'm done dating them. I want X, Y, and Z. I just want love. I want this, a man who respects me, whatever the case is. And basically, from what she's telling me, she ended up getting with the complete opposite of that. And she's at this crossroad where if she leaves, she's leaving a lot of money on the table because right now she's pretty secure. She's living this good life right now. And it's one of those things where everything sounds great until someone puts money in your face. And I don't want to say she sold out, but I mean, when you have these principles and you talk this mighty game, and then someone toss some money in your face, and you switch up. I don't know what else to call it, but And she was talking to me about this, and I was just like, I told her like it's up to her how much she can tolerate. Like I'm not trying to give any advice to her anymore. Like I really believe that people need to learn for themselves. And so if you want to stay in this relationship because you don't have to work anymore, you can just live the lifestyle that you want, sure, that's great. But just keep that same energy. Don't be looking at all these other women and being like, oh, I could never do that. And then here you are doing that. Like, yes, she can lead the relationship and she'll have to go back to her job and wherever the case is and work. But she'll be back. You'll make that money back. You'll learn. You'll learn from this. But she doesn't see it that way. She's just looking at, maybe what people are going to think about her, X, Y, and Z, whatever the case is. I don't want to get too much in the scenario, but just know that following your gut, following your intuition is going to be scary. But it's always the most beneficial thing at the end. And it's great when you look back and know that like, oh, yeah, I did it. I stayed true to myself. I didn't betray myself. And for me, that's what I care about. Because I know, like I said, when I climb this mountain, things are going to be super beneficial. I'm going to be feeling good. And I just got to be consistent and humble and not sell out to my values. So anyways, I think I'm just going to end it there. That's all I got. The last one I tried to record was an hour long. Same questions. Maybe the last one was better. Or maybe I was just rambling more and I was able to extend it to an hour. I don't know. But this is all I got for today. Hopefully you found this somewhat valuable. Like I said, this is mostly for me. But since I post this publicly, I also do want to make sure you guys get some value. This is just my journal at the end of the day. So if you find anything that I'm saying to be helpful, you're getting good value, I'm going to sound like a YouTuber. Give it a like, give it a subscribe. If you want to learn how to really operate out of intuition and get better at listening to what your body is telling you, if you want to move better, feel better, look better, like send me a DM. Let's learn together. That's what I'm trying to say. So, anyways, to the next one, take it easy.